The real Nazis of 2019. Just how much do young people today know about Nazis and the Holocaust? Will Witt of PragerU went around to college campuses to find out, and the results were, well, frankly, shocking. Most millennials, when asked about this dark period in our history, thought that the Holocaust was a planet, Auschwitz was a country, and Nazis were responsible for the murder of 8,000 people. Now flash forward to 2019. Nazi has become the buzzword for anyone who disagrees with leftist ideas. Question illegal immigration? You're a racist and a Nazi. Request due process for accused individuals, mostly conservative men, by anonymous sources, mostly women, and you are misogynistic, a bully, and a Nazi. The list goes on. But let's take a closer look for a moment at just who the real Nazis are today. I want to begin by saying that given how few people actually know anything at all about the Second World War and the part that the Germans played in trying to bring about what they dubbed the final solution, which was their way of trying to rid the earth of all Jews, it is not entirely surprising that the word Nazi is used as loosely as it is in 2019. In fact, some of the more notorious Nazis like Adolf Eichmann and Hitler himself were able to escape justice when the war came to an end, either by fleeing to South America or North America, many of whom settled here in Canada, or by death, either self-inflicted, as in the case of Hitler, or by trial and execution, as in the case of Adolf Eichmann. So who makes the list of actual Nazis in 2019? Well, let's start with leftist protesters, otherwise known as Antifa. Their violent actions and staged mob attacks smack of Nazi ideology. One only has to observe their smash, loot, and burn tactics to see the similarity. Then there's the move to ban free speech, or in PC speak, protect the public from any kind of hate speech. Translation, if there are dissenters in our midst, they must be expunged, depersoned, erased from the public entirely. The World War II Nazis did this by burning books and dividing communities that had previously coexisted without any problem, encouraging snitching on your neighbor for perceived offenses to, you guessed it, the Nazis. But perhaps the scariest of all Nazis today are our educators, who fill our children's minds with a social justice agenda and communist propaganda from the moment they enter the gilded halls of our public school system to the day that they graduate university or college, for the most part having learned nothing of subject matter or critical thinking, but plenty about activism and socialist ideals. Ralph Northam, the current governor of Virginia, recently came under fire for promoting abortion up to and including after the baby has been born. His interview with the press regarding just how this would be accomplished was reminiscent of one of the evilest Nazis of them all, Dr. Joseph Mengele, who performed medical experiments of unspeakable horror on concentration camp prisoners. He did not consider these prisoners human, so it was never going to weigh on his conscience that his deeds were the work of the devil. Democrats need Ralph Northam to keep the state of Virginia blue. So they tried to distract from this abominable moment by bringing up an event in Northam's life from his days as a medical student, when he thought it was just fine and dandy to pose for a yearbook photo in blackface beside a fellow student dressed in a KKK outfit. If you've been keeping up with the news, this backfired on them monumentally, but I digress. The Democrats let slip through a crack in their usually well-fortified wall their true nature. North of the border, we are no different. Our Nazis are the current federal Liberal Party. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing, assuring us that they are here to help us, while in reality, they are slowly destroying our nation and our culture, one little piece at a time. So the next time someone calls you a Nazi for disagreeing with open borders, carbon tax, and censorship of free speech. Just remember that historically, this did not end well for the real Nazis. We need to take our country back before the liberal government becomes the basic dictatorship that our dear leader so admires.